Hey guys, welcome to Never in the Red. My name is Renee, and today we're going to talk about our fourth episode, our last episode for Excel for beginners. Today, we're really going to get into this whole concept of point and click versus shortcuts with Excel. Shortcuts will really give you a lot more bang for your buck when it comes to making sure that you're utilizing your time as good as possible that you can while you're working in Excel. Remember, the last few episodes went through all of the things that will lead up to what we're doing today, getting a full fundamental understanding of how Excel works, along with the introduction to navigation, our introduction to formulas, and we're just going to wrap it up today and learn something that's a little more specific and kind of a brand new topic for probably most of you. Well, remember, when we're doing anything YouTube, you want to like and subscribe if you want to get the content that we put out every single week. Well, let's get started. In our last episode of this series, and we are talking about mouse versus shortcuts. This is near and dear to my heart. I use shortcuts almost exclusively with everything that I do in Excel, and it just makes my time so much easier and so much faster. The value add that you get with learning these types of things as you become a more advanced user just shows you the power of how Excel can be so scalable and really help you get to where you want to be with building a set of financials or building a reporting structure or just even building your own budget. So I'm just going to show you the power of shortcuts versus using your mouse. This point and click method is, I would not call it to be desirable. But as you learn more and as you get more into understanding the navigation, which was a video we just had, and how to use formulas, which is the other video that we just had, then you're going to be able to say, okay, my next step, my next level is shortcuts. So we're going to have lots of videos on shortcuts to give you guys the most bang for your buck. And what I would really suggest is that you start to take one or two and say, you know what, I'm going to commit to implementing this in my daily use when I use Excel. As you do that, as you sort of leave, your little mouse off to the side, and you begin to use the shortcuts, you'll see that it just adds so much value to what you do. So let's begin. These shortcuts really help you with large data sets. And you know how we talked about in the beginning of all of this series, how Excel is an association-based tool and that it is very intuitive. And that number three, you build things like database, right? You want to build it like a database. That's what I have here. What I mean by that is I've got this whole entire listing. It's almost 500 lines long, right? And that database is going to be the setup so that we can do lots of different things and manipulate the data in ways to obtain different types of information out of it, right? Because right now it's just raw data. But then when we slice and dice and do some different things, it becomes something so much more. It becomes information. So that was a shortcut that I just used in order to get to the bottom of the table. All I did was Control Shift over, Control Shift down, and that gets me all the way to the actual bottom of the table. It's absolutely incredible. If I were to use my mouse, I would have to click at the bottom and maybe I click on the wrong place and then maybe scroll up and keep scrolling and keep scrolling. With large sets of data, this just becomes really time consuming and frustrating. I would not recommend it. And so that's one really cool, quick shortcut. Another quick shortcut is with formulas. There are some formulas that are really cool. I think I might have showed this one to you guys in the last video, but repetition is never bad. So we've got alt equals will give you your sum formula, and it sums everything, as you can see, from C6 to C447, which means as we go to the top of the table, we see it grabbed the whole entire data set. The one thing that I would say that is very important as you begin to learn these types of shortcuts is this idea about the database. The database is continuous, and so in order for these shortcuts to work, things like that sum formula doesn't work if we have a inserted row. So what does that mean? That means that this sum becomes quite different when I insert a row because the database isn't continuous. So this actually went through C13 instead of going all the way up to the top because we inserted a row. It's a little just handy trick there to sort of understand the importance of the continuity of the database that you're building. And then what did I just do? I just deleted a row. I did that without using a mouse. My mouse can be a little bit more cumbersome to use. I can right click, I can insert, I can click, I can delete, I can do those things. Or I can use a shortcut and I can go ahead and take some rows here. So this guy. So I can go ahead, I can take some rows here and I can insert, I can shift cells down, I can insert full rows, and I can delete full rows, all with just my hands, right? No mouse, just the shortcuts and the keyboard. And so all of these tools become extremely powerful as you start to use them. Lots of other shortcuts, such as you want to do some formatting changes, make something bold, make something italicized. It really just allows you to do that so much more quickly than going, okay, let me highlight this, let me click on this, let me click on this. Because the mouse, it just becomes something extra that you have to do and you have less control over it. So I've found that I make a lot more mistakes. I'm not as accurate when I'm using that point and click method. So I recommend shortcuts greatly. I know a lot of them. We're gonna give you guys a lot of content around that. I think it just makes you a much more savvy, proficient user. It takes you from that beginner level and it moves you up into that intermediate level. It allows you to work from anywhere and make the most of your time. So that's it for the Excel for beginners. We went over it all. What is Excel? How do you navigate it? What do formulas look like? And how do we begin using them? And then lastly, just really getting into this concept of mouse versus shortcuts. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this series. We'll be coming out with more Excel, and this is the baseline. So be looking for some more beginner videos, maybe some intermediate videos. We really look forward to seeing you guys here next time at Never in the Red.